Ribonucleic acid. Ribonucleic acid. Ribonucleic acid is also polymer of nucleotides. Ribonucleic acid, called RNA, contains pentose sugar as ribose. It is also formed of four different types of nucleotides. These nucleotides are named after the base present in them. They are adenine ribonucleotide, guanine ribonucleotide, cytosine ribonucleotide, uracil in the DNA nucleotide. RNA is a single polynucleotide strand. In RNA, the base uracil occurs instead of the base thymine. There are three types of RNA molecules: messenger RNA, transfer RNA, and ribosomal RNA. Messenger RNA. Messenger RNA carries messages from the DNA to ribosomes for protein synthesis. Transfer RNA. The transfer RNA transfers the specific amino acid from the cytoplasm to ribosome for protein synthesis. Ribosomal RNA. Ribosomal RNA in combination with protein forms the body of the ribosome. Chromosome is composed of DNA and proteins. Biologists conducted experiments and showed that DNA is the genetic material and responsible for the transfer of genetic information from parent to offsprings. In 1928, Grip conducted experiment using bacteria that caused pneumonia in mice. He used two types of bacteria, pathogenic and non-pathogenic bacteria. He observed that the non-pathogenic bacteria have absorbed genetic material DNA from the pathogenic bacteria. As a result, they have been transformed to pathogenic form. Later on, Avery McLeod McCarthy provided experimental evidence to prove that the virulence of pneumococcus, which is due to its outer surface, can be transmitted through DNA to bacteria that have lost their virulence. Hershey and Chase experiment, who studied the lab history of bacteriophages, provided further conclusive evidence. Bacteriophages consist of DNA enclosed in a protein coat. The bacteriophage injects its DNA into bacterium and leaves protein coat outside. Under the instructions of the viral DNA, new complete viruses DNA and proteins are made inside. The host bacterium thus is a proof that DNA is genetic hereditary material. DNA is the data bank of living organisms. DNA molecules contain in them the master plan of all characters of every living organism. Human DNA holds all the information about the human body, all the data such as the color of hair, skin or eyes, the height of body, the size, appearance and morphology of nose, fingers, ears, eyes, etc. The way one looks like inner organ is stored in DNA. This data can be encoded using four different types of bases: adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. Genetic code. All genetic information is encoded in the DNA molecule in the form of gene. A gene as a unit of heredity in living organisms. All living things depend on genes as they specify all proteins and functional RNA chains. These informations are transferred to the next generation through DNA. Nucleotides are arranged in a specific way and a polynucleotide chain of DNA. A code is a sequence of three nitrogenous bases triplet along one sugar phosphate strand of DNA molecule. A code specifies the way in which an amino acid has to be bonded in polypeptide chain of protein molecule. There is a lot of information stored in the DNA. If we had to write down all information in the DNA, it would make 900 volumes, each of 500 pages. All this knowledge has been fitted into a tiny molecule that we cannot see with our naked eye. Who has fitted all this information in DNA? Certainly, this is the work of Supreme Intelligence. He is Allah with His Supreme Intelligence, limitless knowledge, and eternal power who created the universe. There are four nitrogenous bases involved in the formation of many codes: adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine. These four nitrogenous bases make sufficient codes for the 20 different amino acids which synthesize a large number of different protein molecules. RNA is a carrier of genetic information. Three types of RNA molecules mentioned earlier are involved in the transfer of genetic information from DNA to synthesize proteins. This transfer of genetic information takes place in two steps: transcription. This is the transfer of genetic code from DNA molecule to RNA molecule. Translation. This is the transfer of genetic code from a messenger RNA to sequence of amino acid and polypeptide conjugated molecules. A conjugated molecule as defined as a molecule that is formed by the combination of two different molecules belonging to different categories. For example, when a carbohydrate molecule combines with protein, a conjugated molecule called glycoprotein is formed. Other examples are nucleoproteins, glycolipids, and lipoproteins. Lipoproteins. Lipoproteins are formed by a combination of lipids and proteins. Lipoproteins are the basic structural framework of plasma membrane and all other types of membranes in the cell. Nucleoproteins. Nucleoproteins are formed by a combination of nucleic acids with protein, and eukaryotic chromosome is basically a nucleoprotein that is formed by the DNA and protein. These are slightly acidic and soluble in water. Glycolipids. Glycolipids are formed by the combination of carbohydrates and lipids. Glycolipids are important components of brain and plasma membrane. Glycoproteins are formed by the combination of carbohydrates and proteins. Glycoproteins are integral components of plasma membrane. They are also present in egg albumin. Key points. Biochemistry is the branch of biology that deals with biochemical basis of life. In higher plants, inorganic compounds are obtained from the environment and are used to make different organic compounds. Water is one of the best solvents, regulate temperature of the body, and has high absorbing capacity to absorb different materials. Condensation is a process in which large organic molecules are synthesized and water molecule removed. Hydrolysis is a process in which large organic molecule is broken down and involves the addition of water molecules. Carbon is present in all organic compounds with a covalent bonding capacity of 4. Carbohydrates are generally the hydrated carbons which are composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Carbohydrates are classified into monosaccharide, oligosaccharide, and polysaccharides. Starch is a common storage product in plants and glycogen in animals. Cellulose is a common polysaccharide found in plants. Carbohydrates provide energy, a building material of different body structure, and are storage molecules. Proteins contain carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen as four essential elements. Proteins are made up of amino acids. The amino acids bond together by peptide bonds which produce polypeptide chains. Protein molecules may be fibrous, keratins, or globular, for example, hemoglobin. Globular proteins may be primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary, depending on their different levels of structural organization. Lipids are mainly composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen and some other elements, particularly phosphorus and nitrogen, and include animal fats, vegetable oils, waxes, and steroids. Vegetable oils and animal fat are called triglycerides. Triglycerides are with three fatty acid chains bonded to one molecule of cholesterol. Fatty acid may be saturated or unsaturated. Lipids are important as storage molecules, building material, insulators, and help in the fat digestion and speeding up of vital activities. The two nucleic acids are deoxyribonucleic acid (DNA) and ribonucleic acid (RNA). DNA has four nitrogenous bases, namely adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. RNA has a nitrogenous base uracil instead of thymine. RNA molecules are of three types: messenger RNA, ribosomal RNA, and transfer RNA. Mononucleotides may have single phosphate group, adenosine 2 phosphate group, adenosine diphosphate, and 3 phosphate group, adenosine triphosphate, ATP. When more than two nucleotides join together, they form polynucleotides, for example, DNA and RNA. Examples of conjugate molecules are glycoproteins, nucleoproteins, glycolipids, and lipoproteins. Now we will discuss another chapter in other live video.